Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of implementing my neighbor's website redesign in WordPress. We're pretty much just picking up where we left off last time, which was we got through kind of mocking up some of the layout for the first couple of sections on the new website redesign, and now we're moving into the curriculum vitae portion. This is the next section that we want to be working on. This is the CV, and it's essentially three columns stacked, two on the top and one on the bottom. And I want to make sure that when we put this together, it flows well on mobile because we want this to compress nicely. So we'll want to have like education stacking on top of employment, on top of experience, and see what we can to kind of make that look nice and transition nice. So let's get that content into WordPress and start kind of massaging it around. All right, let's start by setting up a two column section here where we're going to put the education and employment. We'll do 50-50 as we want these to be roughly equal. Okay, so we want to do a heading. Let's do a H2 for now. I want my stacks so I can actually see them. All right, underneath this, let's see, can I copy this over? Cool, great. Uh, let's bold that. We'll bold that. And that. That's not what that's supposed to say. This is what, examiners? Well, it certainly doesn't copy perfectly from the design into here. I find that really interesting. All right, that's a good start. And let's actually copy over both of these. I'll duplicate and drag into the next column. And then I can at least click right in here. So we'll do employment. Copy over from the design, and then we'll fix it up, I guess. Helgerson, yep. MDPC. Do that bolded. Does this have to be? Oh no, yeah, that doesn't have to be. Does this have to be? Oh no, we can split that up nicely. We can work on that. Okay. Let's see. So it's PC, not PO. That's a comma, not a period. Uh-huh. And I don't know why it was doing that so badly, but that's supposed to be professional, professional medical center PC. I wonder how this would look with a little bit more spacing. Because, like, these don't have to be so closely together, right? Like, okay, or not. Just wanted to go to the beginning there. Yeah, see, right? Like, we could do that for that, and we could also do that for these. Just to make it a little easier to read. There. Now those are all separate paragraphs. I guess we kind of want to have a background on this. So let's do a background of I don't know what this color is. I need to put this into image program to find it out, but it's kind of a blue greenish, somewhere around here, I would say. Yeah, great. And let's see, dimensions, padding, and margin. Can we shrink that down some? No. Okay. Yes, we can, but also no, we can't. Fantastic. Yeah, good enough for now. Do the same treatment to this one. Wish I could just eyedropper the tool right there, but that is not a luxury that I am given. So I have to work within my eyesight to match it for now. All right, cool. Let's get ourselves some custom padding going on. Gotta check the margin on this as well. Or maybe it's the padding between the columns themselves. Hmm. Because let's see. Yeah, there's block spacing. So that's the margin around there, I think. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. If we break it down to none, we can kind of have that crossover in the same way that we do for the design. Though we're going to have the same challenge here with the color wanting to extend past the borders here as we do on the other side. I can at least take these columns and make them wide width. So that'll be the same coloring or the same extension of the coloring to the sides. Uh, that's okay. We'll figure that one out. And I think for the inside of this column, interesting. I might actually put these paragraphs in a group so that I can add some extra padding to that. So let's see. Can I? This would be too nice. Group. Yeah, one group. And then for that group, let's change the padding left to right to have a little bit of padding, maybe even a little extra padding. I like that. We can do the same for these paragraphs, group them together, come in here and change the padding to tighten that up. That looks pretty decent. Great. Let's move on. We can copy over employment to, oh, I don't want to just grab it. I want to duplicate it and move it down to where this paragraph is. Now we're going to change that to experience. And we're going to want to center all these texts too, instead of having them be left justified for the headings. So, yeah, that looks a little bit closer to what we're eventually aiming for. All right, let's copy over this information that we've got here. And let's fix anything that needs to be fixed. So faculty appointments, that should probably be bolded. No scalpel vasectomy trained. Oh, that wasn't what I meant to do. I meant to bold, not to copy things over. And then this other is supposed to be down part of those columns there. So we can get rid of that, move that up. Let's see. I think the margin bottom on other might need to No, that's not what I was dealing with. Hmm. Maybe it's the list. Dimensions, margin. Yeah, okay. It looks like it still has some. Hmm. Is it the list item itself? I don't think that should have a margin on the top. Yeah, that would separate the two there. So I don't know. It's one of them. Maybe I'll fix that up at some point, but close enough for now. Let's move on to the next section. The next section we've got to work on is this procedures details section. I think this is going to be a little bit interesting to put together because it does have this gradient underneath it as well as this t-shirt design. We're still waiting on images from the designer right now, so I'm just not worrying about any of those until later, but we can put the gradient in, or at least a gradient in. I think what we'll do is we'll design this as just one single group that then has other blocks within it. So the group itself can have the background and the background gradient, and then everything that's within it can kind of just float on top of that. So we'll start at the top. This is a big-ish section. So we'll start at the top and kind of move through it. All right, let's start with that group. So that'll be under this list. We'll do add after. And we're just gonna start with a group. And I was just gonna have it be one big blocks in a container. Let's just start with that. Um, we'll start here with a heading. Be any heading? Oh, it's, okay. I see it starts as a default H2. That's fine. Procedure details. I wonder if we can rename this. Yeah, well, let's rename this group as procedure details. Maybe we'll end up grouping each of these sections so we just have that to play with and be able to see what it is instead of seeing columns, 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 columns. Just make it a little more organized. But that's a later me issue. I'm just trying to figure this out for now. So for this group, let's take a look at what we can do for backgrounds. We've got this gradient option. And let's start with, how do I, can I, oh, okay, so that's where it starts and kind of moves forward from there. How do I, aha. All right. This is really weird mouse movement, y'all. This is not ideal. All right, let's start from here. What we have, like a darkish sky blue on one end. We have white on the other, and we want to change the angle of this to be, what, 180, right? Because it's going to be top to bottom. So we'll leave that there and we'll just kind of watch how that goes throughout. So yeah, so we want to center this. Oh, and for the group, we want to make this also wide width. We're going to want this full width in the full thing eventually, but let's start there. Let's also make this what? I guess it should be all caps. Procedure details. And we'll make it white too to start with. It's going to be real big. Like real big is kind of what we're looking for here. So, well, that's going to be real big for now. I know it's not super big, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's pad this out nicely. I can honestly, okay, that works. I can, wow, real big, real big. And then eventually we'll change the font to this much more, I don't know, aggressive, bold sans serif font that the designer has chosen, and we'll move from there. All right. So next, let's put this paragraph in. We'll start there. Uh, Copy over some data. We'll make sure it's centered as well. And this bottom thing is bolded. Let's make this white text as well. Also, I can already see that my gradients got too light of a blue on this. It's going to have to be a darker blue. Uh, Maybe a little more unsaturated. Good enough for now. Good enough for now. We'll keep moving. All right, then under this paragraph, we should have a 2-column section. So we'll do columns. And we're going to want, maybe we don't even need columns. Maybe we'll just do buttons. Let's delete the columns. We'll do add after buttons. Because I need 2 buttons is what this is. So I'm going to have the download button and then the informational slideshow. And those need to be next to each other. So download this handout as a PDF. And then view information slideshow is the next one. So let's see, how do I add a button? Do I just, aha, all right, great. So now for these buttons, I want them to be, yeah, centered, just like that. That's exactly what I wanted. Let's add a little padding to the top of this. And we also want their individual colors to be changed. Do I have that option through here? You can do the background color of the buttons. Yeah, I can do this as, okay, so we'll do a background color of some sort of blue as well. It's kind of like this. Where are we at? So, yeah, closer to here. And we can do the same for this one. Great. Beautiful. Oh, I could make the size a little bigger, but I think that goes too big real quickly. So we're going to not worry about that. Let's add another heading under the buttons. So we're going to actually want this to be an H3 even if we make it bigger, just because it's a sub level under procedure details. So I'm trying to make sure that my structural is correct before I worry about the graphics being correct. It's an accessibility thing, and I just care about it. So what to expect? Brief overview. And this one's supposed to be a bluish color. So let's see what we have in our blues. Yeah, something like there. Maybe bold. Sure. Why not? That's pretty decent. So let's add another paragraph for the first informational section. This is going to be bolded. And oof, I really want something that's in between those two, but we'll stick with medium right there. Also, I think we're gonna want small. What's Oh, there's a full width on some of these. Um, is that an option here? No, weird. I want some padding on this one for internal, and I think that's gonna go with the list as well. So let's pad it all the way to 4 for now, and how it'll go. Oh, I guess it's a numbered list, not a ordered list, but we can change that up here to transform to numbered list. List. Oh, numbered list. There we go. So let's say I'll take your blood pressure and do a mini checkup. Elastic band is da 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 da. Betadine, sterile drape. Uh huh. That's supposed to be parentheses. All right. So these are, I guess because they're different blocks, I can't add the padding on both of them at the same time. Fine. Whatever. I'll do it manually. All right. And I need to decrease the margin. Yeah, but it's still acting weird in front of the list. I'm going to have to take a look at the HTML and actually figure out what I need to do to get those closer together. But that's a minor detail. All right. So we're out of the list. And then here we go. Uh-huh. And I'll even drop that down. This should probably be a link to the slideshow itself. I'll have to check the rest of the site for what that link should be, but I will. Let's just make it something for now. Cool, great. And this one's also like this button should have a link to it, right? Informational slideshow. All right, great. So the next thing we have is not exactly a heading. I guess it's actually just a special type of paragraph. At least that's the job it's doing in the text. Because it's just you'll be out of here soon, that sort of thing. But we want it to be centered and we want it to be massive. And I guess bolded. So that's kind of what we got for that. Yeah, see, you can see it's starting to come together. It's not exactly the same as the design or anything yet, but we're getting pretty close with just standard blocks before we've done any of the major changes. All right, let's see. Next thing, we do have a heading, which is going to be the how to prepare. This is going to be an H3 again, even if we make it huge, which we will make it huge. How, oh, sorry, how to prepare. Let's make it fucking massive. Great. Okay, this one here, let's look at the design. All right, so this is a section that I'm looking at right now, which is this how to prepare section, right? You can see it's a little bit more complicated in design styles because it kind of moves in and out of numbered lists and in, yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to make a 2-column setup, probably two column setups, so that we can do 7 days prior as its own thing, and 1 hour prior is its own thing, and then the list items within. And I may try to clean this up a little bit so that it's not having a numeric list that's moving from 7 days prior into 1 hour prior. Like, I want to think of these as two different um, time periods, right? Because you're not, when you're doing it, like when you're actually moving through the preparation, you're not thinking, okay, this is now step 3 when it's 1 hour prior, right? You're thinking of it like, this is what I have to do on Sunday, and this is what I have to do on Sunday of next week. They're kind of separate. So that's what I think I'll do with that. Great. So let's get started. As I said, let's do this in 2 sections of 2 columns. So let's do uh, columns. We'll do a 3366. I think that should be fine. And so we're going to do in the left column, I think we're going to, let's start with just a paragraph. Uh, yeah, we're going to just do what? Just a big 7. I'm wondering if we can do a big 7 with, like, let's just say any background color. Interesting. Cool. But can we do a border radius on this that, oh, okay. It's not exactly what we're looking for, but I can, like, I can make, ooh, interesting. I make what? 10,000. 10,000. No, I just need it to be square, which is the problem right now. But I might be able to do this in the CSS. I just have to tag it with something. So, uh, maybe I won't do that, but maybe I will. Look, I can go all the way none on the padding on both. I can align the text center. I can do a lot. I just can't quite get it to where I want it to be like a circle around it. Um, I think I might have to work the size of that column down quite a bit, right? And I don't know if I can make that exactly square. We'll see, but that's at least something, right? So I've got 7 days prior. I know that background, none of the colors are right. We'll deal with that. Move that up, and then this is going to be days prior. And we'll also make this centered text and bigger. Maybe not that big, but bigger. Can we just slightly bring it up? Nope. All right, that's what we got. Not for right now. That's what we got. And let's duplicate this whole column section, right? Because now we've got that again. And I can just change these to 1 hour prior. At least we've got those done, right? So let's do in our columns, we're going to have a list. We're going to make it a numeric list. No. Yeah, there we go. Numeric list. Avoid aspirin or any anti-inflammatory pills. Save alcohol consumption for afterwards too. All these increase bleeding. That's not what I wanted to happen. I was just trying to bold it, man. Bold. Bold. And this list is it because the column is uh what, 90? I'm just doing 90% width. I'll figure that out too. Anyway, let's see. So we've got the list finished. Let's exit the list. We've got some additional information about the use of Tylenol or acetaminophen. Let's see, use of Tylenol or generic acetaminophen is safe. There should be a space there. If you are a very nervous person, call us for an anti-anxiety prescription if desired. This was indexed in the design. Now for these columns, you can see like they're kind of off in terms of vertical. I should be able to change that here as well. Yeah, so I can align middle instead of align top. And that allows me to kind of change the spacing on that. Can I just increase it? Yeah, by decimals. 12? 12%? 11%? Yeah, sure. We'll do 11% on that one. And we can do the same thing here. Cool, great. And then let's see. So for this column, we've got basically the same thing here. So let's duplicate these and move them down into this column. But let's see. Let's copy over from the design. All right, gonna use antibacterial soap and water to wash your trim the hair in a 2x2 inch path down the front of the scrot, starting at the base of the penis. Now we want that to be bolded. I want this to be bolded. And then I don't think this next section needs to be a nested bullet point, so I'm going to just make that like the use of Tylenol. On this column, we should also bring up to 90%. Yeah, see, look, that looks nice, mostly. We could probably use some padding between the two. Yeah, that's probably true. All right, let's add a little extra, or at least some margin between the two. Yeah, right? Then that looks separate with each other. And I've got one more thing to put on with this as well. So swap those around. All right, great. And then for these columns, I want them aligned middle too. Great. Perfect. Wonderful. It's not perfect, but it is quite a lot closer than I thought we would get just by putting in the blocks without actually having the real fonts and stuff put in. That's pretty decent. I think that's all the work that I'm going to do in this particular session. I've got some things that I need to take care of, and this is a decent stopping point. So I'm going to put things up here. For the next session, I'm actually going to skip the next section of the design because that is the most graphic portion of the design. I'll do that off camera later. It really involves just adding like a single image that has to be clickable to the slideshow itself. So the next thing that we're going to be working on is this aftercare section. Should be pretty easy to do. I mean, we've already seen kind of what we've done before in terms of how we're going to set this up, but this does have some of the more interesting design works that we're going to have to put on for it, because we've got these circles that go in the corner of these columns, and we're going to have rounded edges and shadows for the columns themselves. So we'll have to see what we can do in WordPress to make that come true. And I think we'll probably be able to get into the frequently asked questions and knock that out too, if not the rest of the design next time. So hope you're looking forward to that. I certainly am. And I will catch you in the next video.